Have you ever wondered why some people are just unforgettable? They walk into a room and without even trying, they become the center of gravity. It's not about looks, money, or status. It's about understanding the hidden switches in the human mind. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 4 weak spots that exist in almost everyone. Learning to see them, and more importantly, learning how to address them, can make you the one person they can't stop thinking about. Let's be clear. What I'm about to share goes far beyond simple charisma or being well-liked. Being liked is friendly. Being obsessed over is a form of psychological addiction. The techniques I'll explain can either help you build incredibly deep, positive bonds, or they can be used to make someone dependent on your approval. How you use this power is your responsibility alone, so please proceed with thoughtful intention. To begin, you must learn to see the subtle signals people send out during a normal conversation. Think of someone's typical emotional state as a flat line. Most of the time, their tone, speech speed, and engagement are steady. But sometimes, when you touch on a specific topic, you'll see a spike. Their eyes might light up and their voice will fill with energy. Or the line might dip sharply. They may become quiet, defensive, or change the subject. These spikes and dips are your signposts. They are involuntary reactions that signal you've just hit on something deeply important to them, a weak point. Once you identify that point, you can become the person who uniquely soothes it, making yourself indispensable. These vulnerabilities can be categorized into 4 main areas. The first and most common is what we'll call the craving for significance. Every single person wants to feel that their existence matters. They want to believe they are special, talented, or important in some way. For many, this is a deep, unspoken hunger. People who are starved for significance are easy to spot. They constantly talk about their past achievements. They might brag about their accomplishments at work, tell exaggerated stories about their successes, or name drop to prove their connections. They are desperately trying to show the world and themselves that they are worthy. Your tool for this weak point is indirect praise. Direct praise, like saying, "You have a great sense of style," is cheap and often comes off as flattery. It's forgotten in minutes. Indirect praise is far more powerful because it makes them feel praised without you having said it directly. It works on the subconscious. Here's how to do it. Let's say you know someone who's proud of their skill in playing the guitar. Instead of telling them they're a great player, you can say, "You know, my friend was trying to learn a difficult song the other day, and I immediately thought of you. I told her you have this natural ability to make complex things look easy." With this one sentence, you've done 3 things. You've shown that you think about them even when they're not around. You've positioned them as an expert in someone else's eyes. And you made them feel their talent is so obvious that you use them as the gold standard. They don't just hear the praise, they feel it as a fundamental truth. You become the source of that profound feeling of significance they've been craving. The second weak point is the shadow of inadequacy. This is the secret fear of failure that haunts ambitious people. Anyone with a big dream, starting a business, getting a promotion, mastering a difficult skill, lives with a quiet voice in their head telling them they might not be good enough. They are surrounded by people who offer generic encouragement like, "You can do it," or "Don't give up." But this advice is useless because it doesn't address the actual fear. Your tool here is not advice, but emotional reassurance. Your goal is to get them to open up about their specific fears and then validate those feelings while offering hope. Let's imagine your friend wants to start their own graphic design business, but is terrified. They confess, "I just don't know if I have what it takes. There are so many talented people out there." The average person would offer a solution. "You should take a business course," or "just make a portfolio." This is the wrong approach. Instead, you listen carefully. Then, you provide reassurance by sharing a relatable story. You could say, You know, my cousin was trying to learn a difficult song the other day, and I immediately thought of you. I told her you have this natural ability to make complex things look easy. With this one sentence, you've done three things. You've shown that you think about them even when they're not around. You've positioned them as an expert in someone else's eyes. And you made them feel their talent is so obvious that you use them as the gold standard. They don't just hear the praise, they feel it as a fundamental truth. You become the source of that profound feeling of significance they've been craving. The third weak point is what I call the echoes of past pain. Everyone has experienced rejection or hurt that left a scar. It could be from a past relationship, a job they didn't get, or a time they felt socially excluded. These experiences create a psychological trauma, a tender spot that, when pressed, causes a disproportionate amount of pain. Men in particular often internalize romantic rejection as a fundamental flaw in their character. They believe they were rejected because they were not good enough. Your tool here is to reframe the narrative. You must help them see the past event not as a reflection of their inadequacy, but as something that happened for a different, less personal reason. But again, you cannot do this directly. Saying, "The problem was her, not you," sounds hollow. You need to guide them to that conclusion themselves by providing a new perspective. For example, if a friend is still hurt over a past breakup, you could wait for a moment when he's talking about it and then gently introduce a new idea. You might say, "You know, from what you've told me about her, it sounds like she was never really sure what she wanted in life. Someone that indecisive might have struggled to appreciate a partner who's as focused and driven as you." This statement doesn't attack the ex-partner directly. Instead, it subtly suggests a mismatch in values and maturity. It reframes the rejection from "I wasn't good enough for her" to "she wasn't ready for me." You are not just comforting him, you are restoring his sense of worth and power. By healing a piece of his past, you create an incredibly powerful bond in the present. He will subconsciously associate you with feelings of confidence and self-respect. The final weak point is the primal drive for connection. This is a vulnerability you cannot exploit as a man, but you absolutely must understand it to protect yourself from being manipulated. For men, the drive for sex is a biological imperative. A woman, on the other hand, does not experience this drive with the same sense of scarcity. For her, sex is almost always available if she wants it. This creates a fundamental power imbalance. A woman who understands this can use a man's primal drive against him. She holds something he is biologically wired to desire, and she can use it to make him do almost anything. The most effective way this is done is by keeping him in a state of constant pursuit. The moment she senses he is about to give up, she will give him a small taste of what he wants, a bit of affection, a hopeful comment, a hint of intimacy, just enough to get his hopes up. Then, as soon as he is re-engaged, she pulls away again. This cycle of hope and withdrawal is incredibly addictive. His brain associates her with the thrill of the chase and the promise of a reward that never fully arrives. Understanding this dynamic is your defense. When you recognize this pattern, you can see it not as a genuine connection, but as a manipulation tactic. It allows you to step away and regain your power, refusing to be a pawn in someone else's game. Ultimately, all four of these points operate on a single principle. When you trigger a person's weak point, you are temporarily creating a void within them. You are reminding them of their hunger for significance, their fear of failure, their past pain, or their primal desires. By then becoming the person who fills that void with indirect praise, emotional reassurance, or a reframed narrative, you become the source of their relief. You are like a drug, and they will keep coming back for more, often without ever fully understanding why.